Okay. So, according to Johnson 2023, a man volunteered at Charles Schwab Challenge for over 50 years. Can you imagine volunteering somewhere for over 50 years? Also, according to Myers 2007, 40 volunteers helped storm victims in Springfield, Missouri after a big ice storm. I was also reading an article from Toronto Star from Rainer 2017, and he was talking about how important it is to volunteer, and whenever he did it, it was all an eye-opening experience, heartbreaking experience, and great experience all at the same time. Volunteering is such an important thing to do, but it is even so much more important to do in the town or the community that you live in. You are taking stuff from your community, you're living in it, and it's just so good to give back. According to Hammond's Parkway 2023, there's so many different ways that you can get involved in Springfield, and so many different options where you can volunteer. And they also talk about the importance of volunteering in your community. In this speech, I'm going to be talking about places you can volunteer in Springfield, why it's important to volunteer in your community, and also how you can get started with volunteering. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is volunteering in Springfield. There's so many different options. You could volunteer with animals, people, food, kind of up to your personal preference, whatever you want to do. If you like animals, I recommend you volunteering at the Humane Society. That's just a great place. You can walk the dogs, clean the cages, kind of do whatever you want. So this is the Humane Society of the United States 2023. They say the greatest thing you can give animals is your time. You can play with the dogs, comfort the cats, bond with the bunnies, and advise adopters. And they say put your compassion into your actions. And I just think that's a great statement for volunteering. But if animals aren't really your thing, you could volunteer for the Child Advocacy Center. Their mission is serving the needs of abused and neglected children across 14 counties of southern Missouri and providing education to break abuse cycles. According to Amigo 2022, it's really good to volunteer with children, and because they're looking up to you, you're like a role model to them. They also say that there are 3 things that volunteers should consider whenever you are volunteering with children, and those are the complexity of defining who a child is and how they should live, the challenges of child protection, and the ability to empower children. So if neither of those things are your thing, you could volunteer in like a kitchen or a homeless shelter. I think it's just such a great thing. America has such like a high homeless population rate right now. Also, according to Curry 2022, the children's homeless rate outside of urban areas is at an all-time high, especially after COVID-19. So I think a great thing that you could do is just go volunteer at the homeless shelter, like make little packs and can them out. So since you've learned about places you can volunteer in Springfield, now I'm going to be talking about why it's important to volunteer in your community. There's so many great reasons that you should volunteer in your community, but one of the main things that I'm thinking of is you're living in that community and your family, your friends live in there. You're taking like so much from it, and like if you really technically think about it, you are like destroying where you're living. So might as well volunteer there, give back to the community. It's a great place. Also, whenever I volunteered, the first place I did it was like cleaning off trash off the side of the road. It wasn't the funnest thing in the world, but like it made me feel so good that I was giving back to my community. Another thing that I've done is went to the Humane Society, and whenever I did that, it like didn't even feel like community service, because all I was doing was like playing with the animals and walking them and petting them, and it was just a fun experience. Volunteering isn't always that fun of an experience, but if you get together like a good group of your friends that you can always have fun with, like whenever me and my friends went and cleaned the side of the road, we still had fun and it was a good laugh, and we got to serve our community, which was really great. So now I'm going to be talking about how to start volunteering, especially like I'm mostly talking about Springfield in this. So if you want to volunteer at the Humane Society, what you do is you go look up Springfield Humane Society, and then there's a volunteer tab, and there's so many different things that you could volunteer for in the Humane Society. It's up to whatever you want, and then you just sign up for it. Before you go there though, you do have to do a like a course on volunteering there, but it's really easy. And then you can do it Monday through Saturdays, 8 to 6, or Sundays, 8 to 5. And then if you want to volunteer at the Child Advocacy Center, you just look up Child Advocacy Center and then go to How I Can Help tab and then volunteer. And then what you do is go look at all of them. What I would do is I would go look at their events that they're hosting, and then whichever dates I can help, I would go, and then you just fill out a form and then they'll get back to you. And then if you want to volunteer with the homeless, a great thing that I would definitely do is make little packs, and you can put food, water, hygiene products, whatever you want in them, and keep them in the back of your car, and whenever you see a homeless person, you can give it to them. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go do it volunteer at the homeless shelter, a kitchen or something like that. I think both are really great options and super easy. So now that in this speech I've talked about volunteering, in Springfield, why it's important to do it in your community, and how to keep doing that, how to get started. I think volunteering in your community is such an important role, and giving back is so important, and I think it makes you appreciate how much you love where you're living at, and you'll be making such a big impact on everyone, and you could also be inspiring other people to volunteer as well.